a few people, but it's not even 10. So everyone's coming early today. Everyone's excited.
All right, I love it. Love the enthusiasm. Can't let the team down now.
Exactly.
Me and Noemi plan to match today.
Yeah. That's right. Oh my gosh, with the blue sweater.
Remember the days when people actually used to dress up?
Right.
Remember that? Or maybe it's I haven't worn a tie or a suit. I think it's been like 5 years at this point.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And I don't plan on wearing one in the future.
I don't think that dressing up will ever be the same anymore.
No. I always warn my clients, just listen though, if you're gonna wear a casual shirt, just make sure, please wear pants. Because if you have to get up, I don't want to see that. All right. And I'm sure you guys have probably some good stories about what you've seen during meetings that you wish you never saw, that's burned in your mind, and you can't get rid of that picture.
Oh my God. Thankfully, it never happened here at Cleverly. Nobody ever stood up and then didn't have pants.
Oh, I could tell you some stories in the beginning when people really didn't know the rules of engagement when you're doing having a conversation or a meeting online. Yeah, I've seen some. That's another call we'll have. Okay, we got too much going on today about getting you guys up and ready for sales and making your customers more valuable. So, whenever you're ready to run me, I think we have a few more people. Did you say we're waiting for?
Yes, we're still waiting for Nick. That's for sure, and Daniel. Dion or Justin. Do you know if Daniel's going to join?
Yeah, he should be joining any minute.
Okay.
The most common words I hear from sales leaders when they jump on a call a few minutes late is, what do you think? Oh, I'm really sorry. At my last meeting, I was running late.
Most common.
Guys, lesson one. If you're saying that, that's a coaching moment to take better control of your calls. All right, because you can't jump from one session, be late for the next. By the end of the day, you're burnt out. You're not creating any space for yourself. Okay, I'll challenge each of you right now. If you have an hour meeting, make it 40 or 45 minutes. There's the first lesson for you. I challenge you on that. Give yourself back some time every day so you have that time in between every session to decompress, take a break, and get back to being present before you jump reactively on that next call. So thanks for asking that question, anyone who asked that. Thank you.
All right. I think we're still waiting for Daniel, but I guess we should probably start. I'm going to tell him.
All right. Good morning to all the new faces that are showing up. Oh, that's probably one of the coolest names I've ever heard. Oz. I wish I would. That wicked cool name. My parents named me Keith. I always ask them, where did you get Keith from? You do know that my whole life I've been called Kevin. And I'm like, Keith and Kevin? Like, no, I don't see the connection. So I don't know. I wish I had a cool name like Oz. I don't know.
What did you get from Kevin to Keith? Like, what happened?
People confused. Like, I get emails all the time. Hi, Kevin. I'm like, do you see my LinkedIn profile? Do you see me on Twitter? At what point do you see Kevin Rosen? Actually, good lesson in mindfulness right there, and self-awareness.
Okay, I think we got everyone.
Okay. And Noemi, also, before we jump into it, how many time zones do we have today that we're working on?
We have up to 1 hour, so you can use however long you need.
Oh, perfect. No, we're for an hour. I just didn't know if we had any people from EMEA on the call.
From where?
From Europe?
Oh, we do. We do.
Ah,
We
okay.
have Maxim, and by the way, Oz and Matt, is Ahmed joining?
No, I don't think Ahmed is coming on. I don't know. I gave him the option. He said he'd try.
Okay. So we have Maxim from Europe. We have Michael from Philippines.
Right.
So we're going global.
Fantastic.
Okay, so let me do a little introduction. So we're here with Kevin Rosen. I'm joking. We're here with Keith Rosen, who's the CEO of Profit Builders, which is one of the best leadership, or has been named the best leadership coaching company. And Keith has coached 3 million managers since 1989. That's a lot of people. That's the whole city of Paris. So it's a good amount. And he has done this on 6 continents and over 75 countries. So globalization doesn't scare Keith at all. And oh yeah, David is in Hawaii. Thank you, Joanna, for letting us know. And Oz is in Mexico, by the way. So anyway, let's keep going on the intro. Keith is also the author of several books and courses. Some of the books are Own Your Day, Coaching Salespeople into Sales Champions, which is the #1 best-selling management book on Amazon, and then Sales Leadership, which is mainly the one that I learned. I mean, that I read, and also I think Nick and Reagan and some other people in the company, which is also the Amazon 2018 Sales Leadership Book of the Year. And this is the book that we used and the course that we used to kind of shape our coaching sessions for about a year now. So thank you, Keith, for that.
Of course.
And Keith is also one of the most influential coach that was named by Inc. magazine and Fast Companies. So Keith, welcome, and thank you for doing this Q&A with us today. We can start probably with the first questions. Yes, we will send book links. And Nick said Keith wrote Sales Leadership, which is best management book I've personally read. Thank you, Nick, who is our CEO, by the way. So Nick is a bookworm, so it's a really good compliment.
Right. Thank you.
And okay, so let's just start with the first question. So it's how to consult individuals to grow in self-awareness and empathy. So basically how you put yourself into other people's shoes.
Wow. We're just going to start off with probably the most difficult question that we're going to be asked today. How do you coach? How do you uncover self-awareness? Is that what I'm hearing for people that may not be very self-aware? And we may not always be talking about ourselves, but could be our peers, could be our prospects, could be our clients. And this is really the inner game of coaching. This is less about the what and more about the who. This is about having people look in the mirror and assess who they are and where they want to be. Self-awareness coaching, and just to take a step back, if anyone here, and I would say this to every organization, is still selling or managing the way they were prior to the pandemic, then you're set up for failure. And just on that note, just to throw out a statistic here, 76% of all companies have changed the way they buy, but only 17% of companies have changed the way they sell. And that's pretty scary. And that's why we're talking today. And by the way, the only just to let you guys know why I'm here, and I'm so privileged and I'm so excited to be with you here. But I just want you guys to make sure you thank Noemi, because she's a really, really good salesperson, and it's because of her that I'm here. So just want to give her a call out and a shout out, because I always, it's truly my pleasure to be able to make an impact. But let's talk about self-awareness, because even when we're working with our customers, the old processes that we used to go through as salespeople have changed. And the greatest salespeople today are actually the best coaches. Just like we expect our leaders to be great coaches to our team, to our peers, to our employees, the greatest sales leaders, salespeople, account managers, AEs, they're becoming consultative coaches to their prospects and to their customers. So then what opportunities are there to help someone self-reflect? After all, it's not very effective if I said to you, I said, hey, listen, you're not very self-aware. That's going to put someone on the defensive very, very quickly. But what if we can ask some questions to expand people's peripheral view? And what I'm talking about now, and I want to share with you now the strategic part of this, is what are the questions you can ask to help that person self-assess? Now, one of the things I also want to share is that the greatest way for us to focus on others is to lose ourselves in the service of other people. So if we want to shift the focus on ourselves to someone else, the greatest salespeople I see are the ones that truly lose themselves in the service of others. And by the way, I can't take credit for that quote. That's Gandhi, and I am definitely not comparing myself to Gandhi, okay? So if you think about that, losing yourself in others, think about what that does immediately to your focus and to the disposition of the conversation. Now, the two most important words in sales and coaching: be curious. So if someone's not self-aware, what expansion questions could I ask? Expansion questions expand the person's line of vision. So let me give you an example. Let's say I am talking to a salesperson, okay? And we're doing a deal review. And the salesperson says, okay, Keith, I have these 3 deals that I'm working on. One, I'm sending over the agreement today, so that one's closed. The second one I'm still working on, but that third one, it's dead. They're not buying from us. Now, as a peer, as a manager, we can say, okay, we'll get them next time. And we absolutely miss that coaching opportunity. So what I'm sharing with you is just one example. Keep in mind, make this now applicable when you're speaking to your clients. So as a coach, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to be very curious. And I would say to that coachee, so you said that that customer's not buying from you. May I ask why? And if you actually go on Twitter and see my post today, I posted my 5 favorite coaching questions. Guess which one is one of my favorite coaching questions? Why? Okay. So then I hear from the salesperson, well, you know, Keith, I sent the proposal and they didn't respond. Okay. Here's my second favorite question. What else could be true? Notice what I just did. It's an expansion question. I'm taking someone's myopic point of view and I'm expanding their self-awareness by asking that open-ended question. What else could be true? And now the salesperson starts thinking like, well, maybe they didn't have a chance to review the proposal yet. Okay, here's another one of my top 5 favorite questions. And maybe there's probably more than one decision maker and they haven't had a chance to meet and go over the proposal yet. Okay. And what else might be possible? My proposal wound up in their spam box. And maybe they're on vacation. And what else? I don't know, maybe God forbid they're sick or someone in their family is sick. expansion questions. Look what those questions just did. And what else? What else could be true? These are questions that we need to be asking our customers as well, because the greatest salespeople today, and when I say salespeople, I'm talking AE, AMs, frontline salespeople, anyone who's touching the sales process, okay? The greatest salespeople are challenging their customers in a much deeper way. And they're asking the questions that they never asked before. And the reason why customers and prospects are so much more receptive is because of one thing, which we forget. Everyone is going through something. We're all going through something. And when we call our prospects and customers, we forget that, wait a second, my primary objective is not to sell. My primary objective is to seek to serve. My primary objective is to see if there's a fit and how I can support this person unconditionally, whether they buy from me or not. And some of those, and keep in mind, your prospects and your customers are going through stuff too. And that's why, and you know, I love the word, Noemi, you used before, is empathy. And the predominant sales and leadership strategy today is one word: care. That's it. And we can align care with empathy and connecting with another person's point of view. We're not empathetic if we jump on a call or a meeting online and we just show up and say, oh, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, I have about 37 slides I want to go through in great detail because it's really important. Well, no, that's important to you, but it may not be important to them. And I just got off the phone with another salesperson, and we were talking about some of the great questions you can ask in the beginning of a meeting. And I challenged some of you who jumped on the call earlier, which is stop making your meetings an hour long and make them 40 minutes long or 45 minutes long. You can do that if we're being more intentional rather than reactive on our meetings, and we run them more efficiently. How do you do that? With the questions. So maybe some of you are asking these questions, maybe some of you are not. Noemi, I'm going to rattle off these questions. Just make a note, and I want to make sure I send everyone these questions so they have them in front of them. If I'm opening up a call with one of my with a prospect, what am I asking first? Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, I just want to be mindful of time. How much time did you put aside? Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, just so I know what information to share with you, what's most important for you to learn during our time together? And then Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, how much do you already know about? Fill in the blank, guys, okay? How much do you already know about Cleverly? How much do you already know about our industry? How much do you already know about the results that you can expect? What's your experience working with other companies within our space? If you don't ask those questions, promise you, you will be redundant. And you will start sharing information with your prospects and customers that they are not interested in. And once you do that, think about what happens when someone is talking to you about something you're not interested in. You turn off their listening. So, Noemi, I hope that gave everyone a few good strategies to help coach customers and even yourself on self-awareness.
Yes, that was a great answer. Thank you. It was very in-depth. If anyone has follow-up question on this answer, you can ask the question right now. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, guys, we have a nice intimate group here. You know, we can keep this organic. If you have a question, you know, put it this way: if it's top of mind for you, I guarantee it's top of mind for your peers. So if you ask it, you're helping everyone on our call.
I have a question about the whys and the expanding questions that you mentioned. So for us, if we have a meeting with our client, they are then running a campaign to talk to prospects or leads. So if they come to us and say, oh, our prospect never got back to me, kind of using the example that you mentioned, and then we're asking them those questions, why, and what are the possibilities? Where are we trying to take that? Like, what is the goal for us?
Excellent. So thank you for asking that question so we could bring the conversation home. So what we're doing in the questions that I shared with you is we're in pure coaching form. Again, the greatest leaders are coaches, the greatest salespeople are coaches. We're seeking to understand the other person's point of view first before we share ours. Okay, so once I start asking these questions, what am I doing? I'm learning. I'm learning more about the customer's pain. I'm learning about what their goals are. I'm learning more about how they make their decisions. I'm learning more about their industry and the structure of their organization. I'm learning more about their priorities. And Reagan, to your point and to everyone else, is that what am I doing? The more I ask questions and the more I'm learning, since you guys are the experts, you're going to hear a gap. That gap is the coaching moment. So, for example, as you're asking these questions, you might hear something that either may be inaccurate or they don't know. So, for example, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, how much do you know about Cleverly? Well, actually, I don't really know much about you guys. Oh, okay. So what information is most important that you'd like to hear? I'm filling in the gap. If I'm not saying, hey, let me tell you about our company and how long we've been in business for and our clients, because maybe they're not interested. But once I uncover the gaps of their pain, then, Reagan, to your point is, we're not killing them with coaching. At some point, we need to actually share our ideas and solutions. So we can't do that unless and guys, this is what you probably do now, right? You go through your discovery process, you ask the questions to really understand each prospect's needs and challenges, right? What they've done, what they've tried, what they haven't done, results. And then what do? Based on what you've heard, you share, hey, listen, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, based on what I'm hearing you say, I have a few ideas that will help eliminate some of the challenges that you're faced with, and quite frankly, help you generate more sales. Are you open to talking about that? So Reagan, did you see what I did there? I didn't hear, oh, wow, I got a great lead. I'm just going to pitch them and then ask them questions. No, I have an opportunity to connect with another human being, and I want to know as much as I can, learn about them before I share a solution. Because if you don't ask those questions, you can be sharing the wrong solution. And that is not going to make you look like a subject matter expert. So you ask the questions, you listen for the gap, you listen for the challenge. And then, and this is coaching language, guys, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, are you open to hearing some ideas that, based on what you shared with me, will help you achieve your goals and drive more sales? Who's going to say no to that? But notice what we did. I got permission to have the conversation, permission-based selling. You don't want to force things down people's throat, because you know who's going to lose every time, the salesperson. All right, because you're the one who's going to get regurgitated on. Okay, so we want to seek to understand their point of view first. Once we understand their point of view, what did I do? I said, hey, can I share some ideas? No. I also gave them the why. You see, the most powerful language that I could share with you today is what I call the art of enrollment. And enrollment is all about setting positive intent or expectations. So just like I shared some of the questions earlier, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, how much time do you have dedicated for a call? What are you hoping to learn? Why did you reach out to us? What are your expectations? where do you want to be at the end of our conversation today? I'm collecting all that information. But once I assess the gap and the opportunity, I am going to say, not just here's a solution. I'm going to say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, based on what you shared with me, there were some ideas I have. Now, listen, here we go. That will help you achieve your goals and sell more business immediately. Oh, that's a conversation I want to have with you. Great. Are you open to having that conversation? Well, now you shared the with them. What is everyone tuned into? What's in it for me? If you can't share the with them, they're not going to be engaged in the conversation. That's why enrollment is so critical. And enrollment is simply setting positive intent of what is in it for them. And I'll just end this conversation. And of course, please, happy to go deeper on this, on something that might be relevant for you. But let me share with you why it's so critical to set positive intent. Because when intentions aren't clear, people default to fear. Think about it. It's the human condition. If I was your manager and I sent you an email, and in the subject of the email, in all caps, it said, call me ASAP with 5 exclamation points afterwards, what's your first reaction? Uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Am I getting fired? Am I being put on a performance improvement plan? Am I losing one big account? Is someone quitting? We never go to, my boss wants to tell me how awesome I am. We always default to fear. Now, let's follow through with this one example. So you finally get the courage to call me, your manager. And you know what I say to you? I say, hey, Nicholas, man, I just wanted to take a minute to reach out and have a conversation and just acknowledge you for a great quarter. I know you started off, it was a little slow and we struggled a little bit, but I was super impressed how you got through some of those tough prospects and were able to turn them around and win their business. So just want to acknowledge you for a great job. What? Saw that coming? No one. Because when intentions aren't clear, people default to fear. Your customers need to know what your positive intent is as well. How's that landing on everyone so far? All right, good stuff. Noemi, I turn the mic back to you.
All right. Unless someone else want to ask another question, otherwise we'll move on with people who submitted questions earlier.
All right.
All right.
No question means complete agreement and understanding. All right.
Yes. So the next question is, how do you strengthen the skill to ask deeper questions?
Ooh. Yeah, well, actually, we touched on that. So let's get a little deeper on that one. How do you develop the skills to ask deeper questions? I'm often asked by my clients, Keith, where'd you get that question from? It's a great question. All right. Well, I'll tell you where you're not going to get the great question. All right. Now, let me be the first person. I'll set the precedent right now to make it a safe place. I'm raising my hand. I'm a recovering perfectionist control freak. I don't suppose anyone else on this call is a perfectionist control freak. Is my sarcasm translating? Okay, well, now you're having a conversation. If you think there's such a thing as coming up with the perfect question, you'll never come up with the right question. All right. The greatest sales leaders, you guys, coach and support their customers from their heart, not from their head. Your head is going to get you in trouble every time. You know what's in here? Negative talk, negative internal narratives, assumptions, okay? We need to get right here. And by the way, assumptions are the root cause of all evil, okay? So if anyone wants to talk about that, we could bring that up. But in terms of working with your clients and asking better questions, and I'm going to send you a bunch of them, and there's the inner game that precedes behavior. So belief precedes behavior. How you think is what you get. I shared with you a go be curious, be insatiably curious, be present, be caring. Those are all go be's. Those aren't go do's. Do present. Okay, do caring. You know, do curious. No, you don't do that. That's the inner game. That's the mindset. So think about this. If you are someone who's insatiably curious, try to say that 10 times fast, by default, you will ask more and better questions. And remember, if you're at a point where you're having that conversation and you're like, wait, is this a question I should ask? Maybe I shouldn't ask this question. I don't want to upset the prospect. Maybe it'll challenge them too much. You're no longer even in the conversation anymore. You're stuck in your own head, okay? Think of it this way. When you ask the question that you don't know the answer to is probably the best question you can ask during that conversation. And those are the questions when your prospects and customers say, you know what? You've asked me questions that no one else had asked me before. From the springboard questions we talked about to the expansion questions we talked about. If you listen intently, I'm going to share with you another type of question that you can use to help ask better questions. All right. Now, the customer or the prospect is actually going to, if any of my golfers out there, they're going to tee it up for you. They're going to position it for you. Okay. I call this a springboard question. Now, again, first thing we need to be insatiably curious, the inner game. Okay. Now, if I'm curious, I'm going to ask more questions, but Keith, which questions do I ask? If you are present, okay, you are listening. If you are in the future, you cannot listen, you cannot coach, you cannot be creative. Okay. Unfortunately, all of my clients are result driven. It's an occupational hazard. How can you not be? You have a target on your back. We're always focused on what's next. Unfortunately, as a consequence, we're not focusing on what's now. And the most powerful thing that you can do to become the sales leader that I know you can be starts off with focusing on really being present in the moment. And I know that is not easy when we're being pulled in a million different directions. But I want you to consider the definition of sales and the definition of leadership and coaching are exactly the same. And that is the art of creating new possibilities. So in every conversation, you're either driving your own agenda, i.e. manipulating, which gets really old and boring, or you're asking questions which create new possibilities, which makes your job exciting again. You know, when I speak to leaders like you, many don't realize we have the same exact job. What's your job? To deliver value and make an impact and improve people's lives and organizations. What's my job? To make an impact on my clients, improve people's lives and organizations. The only difference is this: if you're not waking up excited to start your day, you're not coaching. Because coaching is fun. Coaching is fun. I mean, think about it. You just get to ask really cool questions to open up a new dialogue. So now let's circle back to the springboard questions. And again, Noemi, just send me the reminder so make sure everyone gets some of these templates, okay? Springboard question, as my friends say in Boston, wicked simple. But you need to be present, because if you're not going to be able to hear it. So here we go. Let's be on the court now. Let's say Dion is a prospect, and Dion says to me, he says, okay, Keith, thinking about, hiring you guys. I had a really bad experience with another company, and I really expect great customer service and also better results from you guys. Stop. Don't take the bait. At this point, many salespeople go into reaction mode and they'll say, oh, well, let me tell you why you're going to have a totally different experience with us than you did with that other company, and why we're better and why you're going to get better results. You totally missed the coaching moment. Okay. And right now, you've made some costly assumptions. Think about this. If we went around all room here and I asked each of you, define what success looks like for you. What does frustration mean to you? How do you define the word challenge or satisfied or happy? Everyone will have a different definition. And so do your prospects and customers. So you can no longer afford to listen to people. Wait a second, Keith, you just told me that's one of the most important skills as a leader. No, you don't listen to people. You listen for certain things. It's a difference. Listening to people is hearing the information that's coming out of their mouth. Listening for things or listening for gaps, listening for opportunities, listening for assumptions, listening for challenges that they may not even realize they have. And please, someone remind me about you doing all this great work, sending leads to your customers, then coming back and they're crying because they're not being closed. Well, you guys, and I know it's not us, it's them. So let's make sure we talk about that. But getting back to the questions of springboard questions. Let's say a customer says to you, I want to work with an established company that's going to provide me with the results I want. You have no idea what the word established or results mean. So what do? You use a springboard question. When you say establish, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, can you say more about that? When you say better results, can you expand on that more specifically of what results you're looking for? When you say you were frustrated with the other company, can you say a little more about that? And even when we're speaking to our peers, or any internally, externally, hey, you know what? I'm so stressed out and I feel overwhelmed. You have no clue what stressed out and overwhelmed means to someone else unless you use a clarifying springboard question. And that's where it becomes easier to find the right question. But you have to listen for that. You have to listen for that adjective. You have to listen for that adverb when that customer says, I'm so frustrated because we're not getting results. You need to find out what frustrated and results mean. Everyone with me on this? All right, good stuff, guys. I want to circle back because I actually didn't have a senior moment now. And here you guys are delivering great value to your customers. And some of your customers, correct me if I'm wrong, might come back and complain because they're not closing business. Is that a fair statement? Okay. What opportunities are you not taking advantage of right now? Anyone want to share? I know you guys all have an opinion. If they're coming back to you and saying, hey, you're providing me with these leads and, I'm not closing any of them and, these aren't quality, all this stuff I'm sure no one ever heard before. How do you respond to that? Anyone? I mean, we got a whole lot of talent on this call. There's no wrong answers here, guys. Just like Reagan shared a great question. It opened up the whole conversation.
So for me, sometimes what clients come with is they say, oh, I'm not getting any leads off of this. And I can look in their inbox and see that there's several people who are in their, ideal persona.
Okay.
So like sometimes I just put that forward to them because they're asking me to change the targeting. So I say, yes, I can change the targeting. Can you tell me how these prospects, because I've highlighted the best prospects in your inbox. Here's a list of them. Can you tell me how these don't fit your criteria or what you're looking for? Because I feel like it gives them the option to tell me if I really do need to change the targeting. So I'm giving them an option where I say yes to them, but also it kind of holds them accountable to actually following up with those people.
Love it. Love it. Now let's take what Johanna just shared and bring it to another level of where the opportunity is for you to actually win more business and deliver greater value to your customers. Just by a show of hands, does anyone here follow a sales process? I know it might sound like a rhetorical question. Does anyone here follow a sales process or a discovery process when you're working with your prospects? Yeah, every hand I'm assuming is going up. Okay, got it. Great. Do you know what your customer's sales process looks like? Do you know how their salespeople are being trained? Do you know what they're saying when they're calling on these platinum invaluable opportunities that you're giving them? We all know they're blowing sales. So what's the opportunity? If our job is to make our customers more valuable, then that transcends beyond what we're selling or consulting on. If they're not selling, that's a great coaching moment. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I know you shared with me you were a little frustrated because you're not converting as many opportunities as you'd like. And now notice my language here, guys, because sales is the language. What I want for you is to look at us as a valued partner who's helping you grow your business. Ooh, I want that too. So I'd love to learn more about your sales process and how your salespeople are approaching these opportunities so that I can better support you and help you close more business. Are you open to sharing that with me? Does anyone here not agree that that's a $1 billion question? And if you haven't done it, don't worry, okay? Most of my clients don't. That's why I'm busy these days, okay? But what an opportunity there, guys. It's not just about, we always say we want to make our clients valuable, we want to make them successful, but sometimes it's not about offering your service. It's about offering something else. And I know you guys are good salespeople and you know your product. But if you don't know how they're out there positioning themselves and selling, you're doing them a disservice. That's the real opportunity. It's not the quality of the lead, it's the quality of their sales acumen. What do you think? Yeah? Okay.
That's a quick follow-up question to that.
Yeah, please.
So one scenario where I failed at this, like I had a client for like 2 years who, same thing as Joanna and all the AMs, they have a ton of leads, they don't close them. Will is now managing that account, but I'd ask him, what is your sales process like for that same reason? Because we train follow-up, speed to lead, relentless follow-up, stuff like that. Number one, I didn't enroll him, so I think he wasn't even willing to hear me out. He thought I was kind of attacking him for not replying. So I see my mistakes there. But then number two, this is something all the AMs struggle with, is compliance. So like we train them on what to do, for instance, like how to improve their sales process. And then they come to the next call and they didn't do it. Like we told them how to reply to a lead and they didn't do it. And this happens over and over again. And we're just like sometimes lost as far as getting them to actually take action. Do you have any like advice there?
How much time do we have left? Nicholas, that's a meaty good question. Let's break this one down. Number one, your job is not just to qualify your prospects. Your job is also to disqualify your prospects. There is nothing worse than a salesperson following up on prospects that they have no business following up with, because the exponential cost is, and it's not always about skill, why salespeople don't hit their numbers. The exponential cost here is if you're focused on the wrong prospects, you're not focused on the right ones. And the only constant is time. So, what Nicholas says, this is critical, that we have to be challenging our customers. Remember, if we don't, we're not doing our job. You can either seek to serve or you can seek to sell. You seek to sell, that's about you. You seek to serve, that's about them. And the byproduct is you win more business. So let's get into this more detailed. Nicholas, and thank you for that great self-reflection. If you're asking for something, you need to set positive intent and let them know what's in it for them. So just to your point, I think there's a couple of other great opportunities you pulled out. Not only using the enrollment statement of, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, listen, I know we've been working together for a while now, and you're sharing with me you're not getting the results that you'd like. Number one, can you share with me what results you do want? Okay, great. So what do you feel needs to happen to achieve those results? Coaching them, great question. Okay, all right. May I share some observations that would help your salespeople close more business and generate more revenue? Who's going to say no to that? Okay, but if you don't get permission and you don't share your intent, when your intentions aren't clear, people default to fear. Nicholas gave a great example. Okay, they're going to push back if they don't understand. If I just say, hey, can you send me your sales process? They're going to think, why am I going to send you my sales process? So you can share it with all your other customers as if they have a good sales process, right? So the opportunity here is to two things. Become a sales coach and go deeper into their sales process. Number one, as Nicholas said, we need to set positive intent. Number two, okay, now they're open to sharing their sales process with us. Okay, so great. So we have it now. Number three, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, after I see your sales process, can we schedule a follow-up call? And together we can share some best practices that I've seen help companies be more successful. Of course, I want to schedule that call. Okay, now they know your intent. Guys, once a client or a prospect knows your intent is pure, you can get away with pretty much any question. They understand why you're asking it. But if you ask a question and you get a reactive response, negative response, guys, it may make your life easier. It means one thing. They did not understand your intent and you did not set positive intentions with enrollment. So let me go back now, and I want to be mindful of time because this is really great stuff, guys. And I hope you're having as much fun as I am here. Is not only getting their sales process, not only reviewing it with them, but take it to the next step. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Partner, client, I'm glad we have this opportunity to review your sales process. I know in my business, just because you roll out a sales process doesn't mean everyone's going to follow it. So I'd actually like to invest my time with your salespeople. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to accompany them on a presentation. Now, accompanying them on a presentation, as you know, doesn't mean getting in a car and driving to someone's office these days. Accompanying them in a presentation can mean what we're doing right now remotely. You need to enroll them in that. You need to enroll the salesperson because they're going to think, why is salesperson from Cleverly observing me when I give a presentation? When intentions aren't clear, people default to fear. Now it's Mr. and Mrs. Salesperson, Mr. and Mrs. Client. One of the things we've been working on with our customers is developing a new way of selling remotely. Since most customers have changed the way they buy, we need to change the way they sell. Use that statistic I gave you earlier. So what I'd love to do is just be a silent observer, being on the call. I can also act as a subject matter expert for you if you need me. And this way I could see things that other customers are doing that we can work on together so you can close more of these leads. Are you open to that? Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to say no? So now what are you doing? Now you're accompanying them on a sales call. What are you going to learn? Exactly whether or not they're truly engaging in what's best practice or not. You're not making assumptions, okay? You now know it for a fact because you observed it. Now, there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. When you're setting up relationships with your clients, the one thing I heard is key. You know, our clients hold us accountable all the time. But how do we hold our clients accountable? Some salespeople think that's almost impossible. But it's not. Because if you're truly taking a stand for them, sometimes it doesn't mean, you know, our job is not a popularity contest. You know, our job, I want my customers to like me. No, you want your customers to respect you because you're delivering on value. Okay. And sales and leadership is not a popularity contest here. So what I would suggest here is another great strategy, but it's about positioning it up front. And it's called an accountability agreement. And you can call it whatever you want. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to call it anything. I'm just giving you a name for the reference of it. An accountability agreement sounds like this. And let's say Kevin's my client. We just started working together. And I say, hey, Kevin, listen, I'm really excited about working together. Can I share with you the typical process of how we can be a resource so you can generate as much business as possible? You guys hear what I just did? I used an enrollment question. Why would Kevin say no to that? Of course, he's going to say yes. Okay, and then I'm going to share with him, you know, one of the things that we hear from prospects sometimes is that they're not closing as much business as they really need to be. And what I've noticed is that, you know, given our history, we found that it's not the quality of our leads, but really how our customers are trying to sell it. And for so many years, we did our customers a disservice. You can say that, being fully transparent, because we really didn't get involved in their sales process. And now what I'd love to do is really be that sales coach for you and your people. So what I'd like to do is make an accountability agreement, all right? Sometimes I see that even though we talk about best practices, they're not always following them, as I heard you guys share. If I notice your salespeople not following the best practices and the strategies that we laid out, is it all right for me to call you and call you out on this? Now, again, I'm not suggesting you use that language. I'm going to call you out on that, Will. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, if I see something that's hurting an opportunity, is it okay if I bring it up to you? That's softer. What are they going to say? Well, Keith, no, I don't want you to bring up if my salespeople are destroying a great opportunity. The difference is now is you have permission. So now you as a sales professional are not sitting there, I have to say this difficult message, but I don't want to upset the customer. I don't know how they're going to take it. I don't want to upset them. And you're sitting there in assumption land, all because you didn't ask that question. You got to set that accountability agreement up front, because now you have permission to hold your clients accountable. What do you think? Good stuff? All right. Guys, you guys are really focusing on stuff that I see so many companies are struggling with. and they don't even realize they're struggling with it. So kudos to you that you guys know the challenges that are right in front of your line of vision. Makes it easier for us to attack and coach through it. So kudos to you guys. I'm just checking the clock here. 1:54. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Sorry, you're going to be late to your next meeting because we're going till 1 o'clock. But I want to make sure we covered as much as we can with the time we had together. So I'm going to turn it back to Noemi or to anyone here in the room who has any follow-up questions.
Yeah, if anyone has a follow-up question, it's the moment. And other than that,
For me, so something I've noticed in my own experience of having a coaching business and then also with clients is that sometimes there's kind of this inner resistance that you have to the big yes to your dreams. Like even if you've brought in qualified leads and they are saying that they want your services, sometimes it's really hard to sell and to develop that muscle to consistently trust that you can keep this going. And sometimes what I see is that we have qualified leads, but people just let the conversation drift off because they don't feel that validation from the other person too. So what would you say in terms of this when someone has that they don't recognize that they have to have that belief for themselves, they have to bring that energy, not just in terms of getting leads and getting quality leads, but also being able to consistently show up for themselves as a business owner. How do you kind of spark that or inspire that in someone, especially if they're kind of not in that place?
Interesting. And we're talking about your customers and your prospects here, right? Okay. You know what I'm hearing, guys? I'm hearing a huge opportunity as a central theme that as a coach, if I heard one central theme, is we need to do a better job setting expectations with our customers when they become our customers. And we need to, I don't know if you guys do this, and maybe you do, have an onboarding call with your customers. But if you think about this, if you guys are running into the challenges that you shared with me, these were not addressed during the onboarding of a customer. Setting expectations of how to work together, of how to deal with challenges if something comes up, of the fact that it's non-negotiable that if we're going to work together, Mr. and Mrs. Client, let me explain our process so that you are as successful as possible with our partnership. Not only do we provide leads, but in order to work with you, we will also be working with you in terms of your sales process, and we'll also be meeting with your salespeople so I can hear how their process is and what are their challenges. Okay. Guys, think about it. If you tee that up in the beginning of the relationship, how much easier has that made your life? And what happens if they say no? I know this might be a shock, but you don't want to sell everyone. They may be the wrong prospect and not a fit. And I'm going to make an assumption, and if not, I hope you create it, that you have a breakdown of what your ideal prospect and ideal customers look like in terms of their profile, but not only in company or size and what they do, but also in who they are. You know, I learned a long time ago is that if you want to build a business and a career you hate, just work with people you can't stand. There's enough business out there, guys. You know, and every, we have to look not as is it a fit for us? Is this going to help the company? And can we truly serve them? Now it's just another opportunity up front to set those expectations. So now it's like, wait, you want to observe my salespeople? We never talked about that. Wait, we're going to talk about, you want me to give you my sales process? We never talked about that. Guys, these are non-negotiables. Think of it that way. So like, when I coach clients, to me, one non-negotiable, especially today, is self-care. Because over the pandemic, self-care is one of the things that literally got thrown out the window. It's one of the things I probably coach most people on, is getting back into a rhythm of their life when they're working, they're working at home. Okay. So This is about setting the expectations with your customers up front. And if they don't want to engage like that, it's kind of a red flag right there that it may not be the right customer you'd want to work with. You guys aligned with that? Good stuff. So we have literally 30 seconds left. So let's spend the rest of our time solving world peace and eradicating world hunger. Okay, we can do that in 30 seconds, can't we?
Yes, sir.
Guys, you're awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you. Noemi, I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Keith. It was really awesome, very much in depth, and we really appreciate that you took your time for us today. Thank you so much. And Nick, if you want to close.
Greatly appreciate it.
Oh, deeply my pleasure, guys. I hope it makes an impact. And by the way, like it or not, now I'm your coach for life. So I want to give you my personal information. So if you have a question or want to bounce something off me, I'm here for you. So let me give you my mobile number, and then I want to give you my personal email. My mobile number is 516, okay, 233 9239. Okay, that is my direct phone right here. You want to keep it? You really is it a real number? Text me and you'll see it's a real number, guys. Okay. Second thing, personal email address, real simple. kr@keithrosen.com. Okay, guys, my core value is to make an impact. Allow me to do that and honor that if there's an opportunity that I can serve you as well. So remember the ABCs of sales and leadership. Always be closing. No. Always be coaching. Okay. So on that note, I want to thank everyone. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day. And I wish you all extreme success. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.